convert temperature. So we're going to go between two different temperatures, right? We're going to go between the Celsius and Fahrenheit, or Fahrenheit to Celsius. So let's go over what we need to know for our formulas for this. So if we're going to go from Celsius to Fahrenheit, right, we're going to go ahead and look at this as Fahrenheit, right, will be equal to 9 over 5 times, right, the Celsius plus 32. So we're going to plug in the Celsius temperature, right, and we're going to multiply by 9 over 5, and then add 32 to get the temperature in Fahrenheit. And then if we want to do the reverse, where we go from Fahrenheit to Celsius, so if we need to get to Celsius and we have the Fahrenheit temperature, we would have 5 times, in parentheses, the Fahrenheit minus 32, and then that will all be, when that's multiplied by 5, we'll divide it by 9. So let's go over some examples. So example 1, a preheat temperature reading is 82 degrees Celsius. So what is the temperature in Fahrenheit? So if we're going to go from, right, Celsius to Fahrenheit, we're going to use the first, right, the first formula, right? So Fahrenheit is equal to 9 over 5 times Celsius plus 32. So let's go ahead and fill this in, right? So we're going to go ahead and plug that value in for Celsius. So we have 9 over 5 times, we're going to go 82 plus 32. And this is equal to Fahrenheit. So what we can do, right, is we can go ahead and multiply 9 times 82, right? And then we can go ahead and divide it by this 5. So let's go ahead and get the calculator out. So 9 times 82, which is equal to 738. So that's on the top. Let's go ahead and divide it by 5, and we get 147.6. So in order to get to Fahrenheit, we just need to go ahead and then just add 32, which we get 179.6. And that's a pretty high temperature, right? Because 212 degrees in Fahrenheit is boiling. So there we go. So now we have our temperature in Fahrenheit. Let's do the next example. So a preheat temperature reading is 46.5 degrees Celsius. So what's this temperature in Fahrenheit? So once again, we're going to use the same formula, right? We're going to go 9/5 times the Celsius plus 32. So we're going to go ahead and plug that value in. So 9 over 5 times 46.5, right? And then plus 32. So what are we going to do? We're going to go ahead and, right, multiply what's on the top, divide by the bottom, right, which would be 5. We'll get the calculator out. So we have 9 times 46.5. And then we're going to go ahead and divide it by 5. And we get 83.7. So 83.7 plus 32, which would be 115.7. And this is in Fahrenheit, right? So this is what the temperature is, right? So we can say 46.5 degrees in Celsius is equal to 115.7 degrees Fahrenheit. Now let's go ahead and look at the next example. So example 3, we have a temperature reading of 132 degrees Fahrenheit. So what is this temperature in Celsius? So our formula, so let's go ahead and fill this in. So we have 5. We're going to go ahead and plug that value in there. So we have 132 minus 32. So what does that become, right? So this is Celsius. Well, 132 minus 32, as we do what's inside the parentheses first, would be 100 degrees, right? There, so that would be 100. We're going to go ahead and multiply that by 5 and then divide by 9. So we have 100 times 5, so that's 500. We're going to go ahead and divide it by 9, and we get 55.555. So let's just go 55.6. So what's the temperature in Celsius? So 55.6, right? Because we multiplied these two numbers, and then we divided by this number, right? So it's multiplication divided by 9, so 55.6. Now let's go ahead and do the last example. So example 4, a pre-temperature reading is 188.5 degrees Fahrenheit. So what's his temperature in Celsius? So let's go ahead and plug that value in. Right, so we have Celsius, which is 588, right, 0.5 minus 32, and then all of that divided by 9. We'll get a calculator out. So we have 188.5, and we're going to go ahead and subtract first, right? We do what's inside the parentheses first. We got 156.5. So we're going to go ahead and multiply first and then divide by 9. So multiply by 5, divide by 9, and we get 86.9. So 86.9. And this is in Celsius, right? So that's our temperature, right, in Celsius.